Hi, welcome to Rachel and Co. I'm Rachel and I'm joined with Holly today. If you can see her. We have just had an amazing conversation, very deep and honest about Holly's life, how she grew up and about kind of generational trauma and breaking that, and how that's kind of spurred her on to become the amazing businesswoman and mum that she is now. So we've gone to a lot of stuff. So if you want to really see all of that, and if you relate to any of that, then please give it a watch or a listen, whatever platform you're watching this on. So yeah, enjoy.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It's nice to finally have like a little chat. We see each other all the time, but we don't really get like real in-depth conversations. So
I know.
this will be nice.
I feel quite lucky.
So obviously you are, well, maybe not obviously to everyone watching, but a lot of people will know that you own Luma Socials.
Yes.
And that looks like a very thriving business from what I can see.
It has its ups and downs.
As all
businesses. And it's actually our year anniversary this week technically, which I need to get my bum into gear with sorting out a celebration. But yeah, so.
I can't believe it's only a year.
Yeah.
Like obviously I wasn't there when you first started, but it seems like you're already so established.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had a lot of business technically experience. So like in terms of like, this isn't my first rodeo with running a business, but I think this time round, I know how to do everything properly from the get-go, which is good.
Good.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate the compliments.
Yeah. So what got you said that you've got other business experience. So what else have you done?
Yeah. So I actually used to run a coaching business for like 4 years, I think, roughly. I was a multi-accredited coach and supporting a lot of other female founders, that being along their business journeys, but also a lot of their life journeys that they're on as well, because it all plays a part, right? Which I'm sure we'll get into today. But I then went on to have a little boy a year and a half ago. I almost forgot his age. A year and a half ago. And it was, the place I ended up getting into as a coach was really basically supporting people to utilize social media for their marketing and the ways to do it, how to do it, etc. And that was what I loved. And I ended up basically like having my little boy and then thinking, right, I really need to like take a step back and like take a bird's eye view. What do I love about my business that I can actually take and cement into something like solid that I can then continue to everything I love, everything I do in my business I love, right? Like there's no doubt about being a coach is quite heavy with taking on people's everything else that you'll know as a therapist. You do take on a lot from other people, right? It's quite a lot physically, emotionally. And I think becoming a mum, like I think I just decided that it probably wasn't the right path for me to continue down. However, there was so much that I did inside it already that I could take and execute into another business basically. Yeah. So that's how Luma Socials was birthed.
I love that.
Yeah.
I guess like it's such an evolution as well, isn't it? And I think also really good boundaries on your part. Like you kind of saw like this is taking all that out of me and I don't have that spare.
Yeah.
But there's lots of things that I can take from what I have been doing and make it fit.
Yeah.
Because like your whole life changes when you have kids, right? So
yeah,
everything has to change, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not like I don't put in the same amount of hours, effort, if not more, but it's in a different way. And the way that I can work isn't as heavy emotionally, I think. And it's that connection to the people. Like I have great connections with my clients, but it's not like that heavy emotional connection where you do feel like you're carrying a lot of like their potential, like, problems in life. Because it does come with it. As much as I was like I supported the female founders in business, it come with a lot of like support around their life problems and whatnot as well.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. And as a mum, I was like, capacity wise, I'm at my max.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
like you're trying to help a human grow and learn and whatever. So if all of your attention is on other people, which is great, but also how much is left for what you're wanting to give him.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's very, I want to be the best mum possible. But I also want to be a business owner. I did think, I won't lie, before I become a mum, I was very, what's the word? Mums, this isn't anything against mums that want to do this, because now I'm a mum, I fully understand it. But I was very much like, I don't get mums that just want to be stay-at-home mums and, don't have that willingness to go out and want to work. And obviously that was just very a clouded judgment of mine, and I'm not afraid to say that. But I think now, as soon as I become a mum, like that moment I had him in my arms, really, I've always been very business driven, I've always been very career driven, and the things I want to achieve in life have been very important to me. But the moment I had my little boy, I was like, actually, I could take a complete step back from all of this. And I think as time went on, it did make me realize that maybe that's not what I want to do. That's why I ended up birthing the business that I did, because it was just like, I could never fully step away from this world. Like, I'm very passionate about doing something for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's, you don't always know until you know. So, like, you had that mindset. I think you have married them together, I think, like the business side of you and like the mother side of you. You didn't know exactly what that was going to look like until it happened. I think it's the same for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you need to be living that experience in order to be able to make certain decisions. And I think that's just what, led me to where I am today, which is, don't get me wrong, do I wish I potentially started something like this, 3 years ago? Yeah, probably. I could be in a different position, but I'm a big believer. Everything happens for a reason, on the right timeline, and even if it doesn't feel it at the time. So
yeah, it's all meant to be. Work out how it works out.
Yeah, definitely.
So, how about your background? Do you come from like a businessy background, or like family wise, or not really, or where do you think you got that kind of drive from?
It's a bit of a weird one, really, because I wouldn't say I've been brought up around anything like that. So my upbringing wasn't as to how I now foresee the upbringing of my child and whatnot. And I think maybe that's what it was, in the sense of, I want to be that chain breaker and different route taker, rather than continuing pattern after pattern, generation after generation. Like, it's just breaking that chain and that generational trauma, I suppose. Like, I have an odd relationship with my parents, really. A lot of my life, I've done a lot of parenting my parents, in a way. And I love them. But I was never a priority. I was never a priority in their lives. And I think I can, comfortably say that they probably had me quite young. They probably wasn't ready to become parents themselves. And in terms of life decisions that they probably made, that impacted a lot in my childhood. But then I think I was quite fortunate in terms of where life took me in my teenage years, to meeting my partner really young. So we've been together like 14 years now. So I met him when I was 14. Yes. No, I met him when I was 13, 14. And we've been together ever since. But his family and himself, like, very grounded, very like close family, very different to what I'm used to. But I think because I was so young entering that relationship, it wasn't just a relationship with him that I was then able to build. I kind of built a new family. Not that I need a new entire family at all, but it was there a bit more stability there. And I think I saw maybe like the possibilities of life and stability in a family, basically.
Trying something different
Yeah.
than what you're used to.
Yeah.
I think sometimes through the work that I do anyway, there's a lot of people that grow up a certain way, whether that's healthy or not, in whatever dynamic that is. And it's not until they start interacting with either partners or friends or other people, and they kind of see other people's families that are like, oh, something else it can be a different way. So I think that's always interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's interesting where the resentment goes. Sometimes,
yeah,
whether you're resentful of other people, other people's families, or your own family, or you look at like, oh, well, that's what I want. I don't want what I've had. Like,
yeah,
and then it can become quite confusing sometimes.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think it does, like you say, it does cause resentment and whatnot. But like I was fortunate enough that I went to a relatively half decent school. Like it wasn't, the type of families that were actually at that school, which meant the type of friends I made, they kind of come from quite nice families that lived in nicer houses. It was just a village school. It was, a normal public school, but it was in a nicer location, which meant it attracted the surrounding areas, which were nice. And I think then the friends I made, I saw a lot more family units that were stable, and I saw, a lot more parents that were hardworking, and maybe, friends that were able to, travel with their families. It just gave me a different outlook on the possibilities of life to how, and that obviously differed to what I always knew really growing up. And I think I'm I couldn't tell you what the turning point was for me. And I've always been I've wanted more for myself, always.
Yeah.
And I think I've just made sure I've gone out and got it. No one else is going to get it for me. So, yeah.
So I guess that's a lot of independence, isn't it?
I've always been very independent. Like I've had to be.
Yeah.
I have had to be. I've been fortunate in the fact that I've got a brilliant relationship with my nan. My nan's kind of brought me up. But I didn't ever end up moving into hers until I was like a teenager. My family always, my nan and that, always called me bag lady because I lived out of a bag, basically. Like my mum ended up kicking me out when I was about 13. It wasn't based on anything that I've really ever done. I wasn't a bad kid at all. But I always ended up being kicked out at like 13, moved in with my dad, but my dad had his own issues, and there was never a huge amount of stability there. So I was in and out of my nan's. Luckily I met Elliot, so I was in and out of his. So there was a lot of just I never really had a stable home, which meant I did a lot for myself, really.
Yeah.
I worked from a really young age. Yeah, I worked from a really young age. I think I got my first job 15, and I've worked ever since. But yeah, I've had to. I used to do the housework when I was like a little girl, a lot of it anyway. I used to do just a lot of things like that. Like I had to do it all for myself, which meant it's just led me to be very independent, which is also hard because it then comes into your relationships in life. And I'm very lucky that my partner is he's so calm. He's so great. But it's a lot of what I'm not used to. So it's like accepting that is difficult sometimes.
And I think that also breeds distrust of people sometimes too. I guess if you've not really been able to rely on people growing up, then, and you've got to be so independent. Like the reason why you're so independent is probably because you're like, well, no one's going to do anything for me, so I've got to do it myself.
Yeah, 100%.
But it makes it hard for you to fully trust people. Maybe there's like particular people that you can, but maybe new relationships are a bit harder.
Yeah, I definitely think they are. I think I probably have my guard up a lot and maybe look for reasons not to maybe like trust or believe or whatever. And I think very early on, don't get me wrong, we were kids when we met, me and my partner. You know, yes, we've been together pretty much ever since, but we were kids. Like, so, you know, all of those things aside, we had a young relationship. So it's going to feel, you know, there was going to be issues. But I definitely would say, I think when I was younger, I clinged to him a lot. Very fortunately stuck by me, to be honest, but I did cling to him a lot in the sense that I found someone that was willing to give me their everything. And I think then I like probably sucked the life out of the poor boy because I was like, this is great. You're not leaving my side. You know, but we were like 14, you know, really mid-teenagers, so much to learn and experience in life. And having a serious relationship at that age, like, you know, but I think I ended up clinging to him and probably draining the life out of the poor boy, but he's still here today. So, you know, can't have been that bad.
No, but it also sounds like that's what you needed too, though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you were only 13, 14, you were still like so young, still a baby, really.
Yeah.
Still like you're still meant to be learning about life and not having all of the big things that you were trying to work out, that you're trying to solve.
Yeah. I remember kind of going to his house when I was, you know, in those earlier years and barely even going around to see him at some points. I've built such a good relationship with his family that I'd go around and I'd love the idea of sitting on the sofa on a Saturday night and watching the X Factor. And I'd literally go around there just purely to do that. Like, and he'd be like, do you want to go upstairs and, you know, spend some time with me? All right, actually, down here. Like, it was just nice to have that. Like, I've never really had that. And even if I had it, you know, with my nan but like that family unit where we just did normal things like that. Like I never really had that. So it was just like, this is lovely.
Yeah. Sounds really comforting.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really sweet. And it's nice that his family could provide that for you. So not just him, but also like his family unit could also give you something that it sounds like you were missing.
Yeah. And they probably saw a little like lost little girl, you know, I was only young. And they did a really good job of just kind of like taking me on really, like in their own way. And because we're close, we've had our ups and downs. And I think because of my trauma and what I expect from people, I've probably pushed certain people away in that family even, but we've always come back together. But I think I think there's a lot that I've realised, especially now becoming a mum, that you don't realise how you are the way you are so many times, like so often because of the things that you've been through. You know, life really does shape you. And your reaction to things, I think, can come from, sometimes I'll sit there and reflect and be like, oh, I understand why I reacted that way actually, because probably a little bit of resentment, probably a little bit of jealousy, even like with my partner's siblings, like, and still to this day I've kind of made comments, and now I've had my own child, I've kind of gone, okay, I get it, like, you know, little things. It sounds really silly, like my partner's family still paying for like his siblings like phone contracts and like later ages and going on nice holidays, and you know, them just doing so many things as a family, and I've gone, why are they doing that, why are you doing that, like kind of like attacking them for even doing it. But I think more because like, well, I've never had anyone do that for me, so why? I know they're silly examples, but it's like I remember having a bit like of an argument with my partner's family over it, like because I made a bit of an abrupt comment like, oh, well, yeah, I've been paying for my own phone contract for years. It's a ridiculous thing to say. But like it caused a bit of friction in the family. But I reflected back on it and been like, probably just because it's the roots of that are his family want to do things like that for them. And because I didn't really have that, I was a bit like, what's the big deal? You know, what's the big deal? That's just normal life. And then I've had my own child and been like, I'll do everything forever for you. Forever and ever.
And I guess it's also a bit of a, not that you're meaning it to be that way, but it's a bit of a like, well, I've been through this. So like, not in a like I'm saying it in a way of like, it sounds a bit like, well, what about me? But it is a little bit of like, I just want to be seen, I want to be heard. 'cause
Yeah.
maybe you've not felt that way before.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And it's probably like jealousy and like silly things to say to be jealous over. But I think then you'd break it down and get to the roots of it and you're like, oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, a bit of jealousy, a bit of like, just like you say, like, why has no one done that for me?
Mm.
So gets you back up, you know?
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, unfortunate that I've then had that around me because I think it's given me that like a vision as to what's possible.
Yeah. And I guess, yeah, like you've experienced one way and then you've seen other ways, and then you've got your son now, and then you're kind of like, okay, well, what do I want to do now?
Yeah, exactly that. Because I think I was quite worried to become a mum because I'd definitely say my mum didn't have a lot of patience. And I was worried that I wouldn't have a lot of patience. And it's one of those things, I think you have your own experience growing up. You're so worried that depending on, you know, how it was, you are going to be a repeater of that, whether it be good or bad. And of course you want to do things your own way. But there is also probably an element of, well, you know, I've got a lot of trauma that I need to like get through and break through, and I'm worried what can my nervous system handle, like, do you know what I mean? And I think the moment that I had my little boy, I was like, I could never be a certain way with you, so I can't understand how anyone could have ever been a certain way with me. Which is a hard pill to swallow. And I don't think there's a lot that I'm experiencing now since becoming a mum that does make me question a lot. Like, I've had to take a step back from a lot of things because I just think I need some breathing space to actually either decide how I want to move forward with relationships. And because I've had a child, I could never, ever, like, he could never be the problem, you know? Like, he could never do anything wrong. Even if he did, he couldn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But also, that's also you thinking that you were the problem when you weren't.
No. And I think I definitely am like consciously aware of that. But I think there's so many things where you just don't realise through little experiences that you think, oh, it must be me. God, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's easy to think that because, like, I think, I can't remember what episode it was with Lee, maybe. Kids have no concept of, conceptualizing anything. So they think everything is about them. Everything is all kind of like, okay, this good thing is happening because of me, or this bad thing is happening because of me.
Yeah.
They can't tell the difference between whether it's them or a different situation.
Yeah.
So kind of you growing up in the situation that you did, you're thinking, well, this is all because of me. And maybe you also get told it's because of you. But actually it's just because they can't emotionally regulate.
Yeah.
Or they've got trauma that's getting in the way, or they're very triggered by stuff. And again, like I've said before, I think parenting quite often, it's like a mirror, like your kid is a mirror to yourself quite often. And that can be really jarring. And it's whether you're ready to really face that. And some people will do anything they can to not do that, and therefore take it out on other people. Obviously, you've gone down the other route where you're self-development and working on yourself. And again, like, you could never imagine doing that. But as you've also seen, people can. Doesn't mean that it's okay.
No.
And it's very different from you.
Yeah.
It's just the way that some people go about
Life.
They just want to avoid the difficult work.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think if I was to really, you know, break down, you know, on one side of my parents, you know, life and family life, they've not got a huge amount of grounded support from their family. And really, if I was to look back at their upbringing, I'm a bit like, I can understand why they are the way they are. But then I strip it back even more and go, okay, but then look at mine. And if I was to sit here and tell you some of the stories of my life experiences, like, I'm definitely not afraid to say, like, it's rubbish. Like, there's been some things that have happened that, like, have been awful and really could have made a massive impact. And don't get me wrong, in some ways definitely have. Like, the trauma that I have got is deeply rooted from a lot of my life experiences. But I can see why, especially on one side of my family, one of my parents is the way they are. But like I say, I strip it back and go, but I've chosen to be different. But then also, I have found people to ground me. Like I say, my nan, my partner's family. Like, I found those people that I definitely would say have helped me through. If I didn't have them, life could look different. I don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what's not, happened. But I think without the grounded people I have had in my life could be different. But yeah, like I say, it's that they've still chosen to live the life that they have, rightly or wrongly. They choose not to have patience. They choose to, who would want their kids to be scared of them? Like, I don't understand that.
But also, some people think that is the way to parent, is that that their kids should be scared of them.
Yeah, just wild.
That's something that they're taught.
Yeah,
and maybe you're luckier than them, that you have had those grounding people and you've had those experiences when you could see something different.
Yeah,
maybe they never saw anything different. Maybe that is all that they saw.
Yeah,
obviously I don't know, but and I think it's also one of the hardest things to kind of wrap your head around is, like, you can see where they've come from and you've made different choices, and it's, how do I move forward from that? Like, am I able to forgive? Am I able to accept in whatever capacity that looks like? Where do you sit with that? What do you do with those?
So without the resentment is the biggest thing for me right now. Like, you can't change the past. I think when there's little things that happen in the present, that makes it harder to forget, because, things have happened in the past 6 months. So you think, I'm trying to move on, but, you do things and it makes me go back to when I was 10 years old, and you just think, I don't want to, like, especially now I've got my own, there's more of a protection I need to provide for my own little boy. That means I need to protect the peace in my life. And does that mean I need to protect myself from certain people? Like, maybe, but also when they're your parents, they're your parents. Like, people do go no contact. Hats off to them. They're strong enough to lay boundaries. But also, I want a relationship in some form with, I've got a stronger relationship with one than the other. But going cold turkey, that scares me.
Yeah.
So it's like, but then being able to move forward with the relationship without the resentment, especially when you probably can't have a conversation with them because they'll never take ownership of what they've ever done in life. So there's just no point.
Yeah.
You just think, in my head, I've got to go, right, if I want to move forward, I've got to move forward and pretend nothing's ever happened. Which I think's...
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. Especially since, like I say, I keep coming back to it, but since I've had a child myself, I'm like, I don't understand. I can't comprehend it. So I'm like, I don't know how to move forward, because I, as a parent, could never. So I want to know how you could as a parent, But I'm never going to get the answer, so I need to just...
Do you think they're different now that they're older and grandparents?
Yeah, like I say, I'm closer to one than I am the other, definitely. And I mean, I'll definitely say, like, my dad, he is a different person, and I'm so proud of him. Like, he has come on leaps and bounds, and like, he won't mind me sharing a little bit of his story because he shares a lot of himself, and it's actually how he does a lot of his work now. But he was involved in some criminal activities throughout my whole childhood, and you know, I thought I'd either lose my dad to death or I'd lose him to prison. I lost him to prison, but it ended up being one of the best things that ever happened to him. And actually, it was a really big turnaround in his life, and now he thrives. He absolutely thrives, and he does so many incredible things where he actually goes around other prisons and helps other people now. And like, mental health wise, he helps men and women in prison with just being able to turn their life around, because he is a grade A example of being able to do that in your 50s. Like, people would think in my 50s, right, that's it, too far gone now. And he's been a great example of that. And yeah, watching him become a granddad has been great. But I think there's just probably a little bit of resentment that I hold on to with my upbringing in that sense, where I just like, I need a bit of time, do you know what I mean, to just kind of like understand a lot and figure a few things out and whatnot. But yeah, he's definitely shifted a lot. And I think, yeah, both sides, they've grown up. You know, they're not in their partying years and stuff anymore. And do you know what I mean? Which added a lot to my, God, I was weekends where I'd just be in a house of 30 adults, like getting, you know, having a great party. Like, but that was just all, you know, what I kind of like knew. And that was a lot of my childhood. And, you know, they're not doing all of those things anymore. But I think a big thing about growing up is taking accountability. And has that happened? Probably not. So,
yeah.
You can probably see there's resentment there.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, the stubbornness that can come out sometimes, I think, with taking accountability of your actions. I think I've noticed, especially with, I mean, it can happen with any generation, any age, but I think especially with the older generations, where it's like very stoic and like, you never say sorry for anything and blah, blah, blah. I feel like sometimes they might not necessarily ever verbally acknowledge.
But they might know inside.
They know inside. And also sometimes they might show it in non-verbal ways. So maybe they try and show up in ways that maybe they wouldn't have before. So they would never say it out loud because maybe they can't. And also there's maybe a lot of shame within that too.
Yeah, and I definitely believe there is. Definitely on one side. But on another side, I kind of feel like I don't know, I feel like there's maybe just not, there's never been any accountability taken. And if anything, like, for example, when I first kind of started like my coaching business, a lot of what I spoke about was my, you know, generational trauma and whatnot, and just to help inspire others. And I remember my mum bumping into my nan and being like, what's she on about, basically? Like, I know she had it bad on her dad's side, but there was it literally never happened. And she, I feel like there's no point in me even address it, because she could never understand what she's maybe put me through in life.
Okay. Do you think there's differences between, I think there's like big T and then small t traumas. And I wonder if she might see what happened with your dad as like more obvious traumas, and maybe hers is like more, like she doesn't see them because they're not those like more obvious things. Maybe they are more subtle. Doesn't mean that they're any less impactful. But
I think it's
anything but like accidents or abuse or like that kind of thing. Anything outside of that, like more kind of emotional, psychological. They don't really recognize those.
I think it was very easy to push blame on my dad's side because, you know, he was a criminal, which on paper horrendous.
Yeah.
But I probably have more support on that side.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably a lot easier to be like, yeah, there's the problem, rather than taking accountability for that side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm a bit like, I always try and tell myself, like, you know, it's my first time living life.
Mm-hmm.
It's their first time living life.
Yeah.
So everyone's doing their best. But I think your best just isn't enough sometimes if it's not.
Yeah.
If you're not thinking about the people you should be.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the sad thing.
Yeah.
When, the best isn't always enough.
And that's just like it. That sounds maybe like a horrible thing to say, but I think like there's so many, when I look back at, like, as we were saying earlier, like there's so many things. I am probably needing a lot of therapy myself, but like I am definitely I've held on to a lot in life. And I think now in these recent like years, I'm starting to like understand maybe my responses to things. And like even like, you know, within recent family fallouts and stuff, like I am probably being a bit stubborn. I'm not gonna deny it, but I'm like, I'm done forgiving constantly. Do you know what I mean? Like, so actually, I'm going to be stubborn for once, and I'm going to not forgive and forget so easily.
Yeah.
Because why should I? But then in the next breath, I think I'm being made to, well, you're just being silly and all of that. But actually, no, I'm just.
No, it's boundaries, and also knowing your value. And also, I think it's one thing when you can forgive someone and move on and kind of like, okay, like let's move on from this, if they genuinely learn from it. But if it's like you've got to constantly forgive and you're the one that's saying sorry for things that you don't have to apologize for, and you can forgive them, but also they just continue to do the same thing, then it gets to a point where you're like, well, you're not learning the lesson. So there's got to be some other kind of consequence here.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be me continuously sacrificing myself for someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. But then in the next breath, I'm very much a person that feels sorry for people. Don't know whether the right word to use is I am an empath, so I do feel other people's emotions quite a lot. So I'm very much like, I'll justify their actions, especially to other people. I can say things, but you can't. Do you know what I mean? And I'll justify their actions, and I will still get my back up if anyone else was to say things about my family. But I'm the one that's been through the lived experiences, not them. So I feel like I have the right to be able to say these things. But then like I say, like I'll start to feel sorry for people, and but I know I shouldn't.
I think it's okay to have a bit of both. I think you can still have care for these people and love for them. And that loyalty, there's still loyalty there if you will back them up.
Yeah, oh God, I'm so loyal to them. All I've ever been in my life is loyal to them.
Yeah.
Like I've forgiven and forgot so many things. I just think I have been nothing but loyal. Nothing but loyal.
Yeah. But it's also okay to have all of that, but also have your boundaries with them and kind of help them realize that you can't treat me or talk to me or make me feel a certain way.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going through something, then you can go through that, but you don't take it out on me.
Yeah.
Or, like it's you being able to see a situation that maybe they can't.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson for them to learn. But it's always kind of sticking with like, okay, this is what I tolerate. This is the energy that I'm allowing in and all that sort of stuff. And also, like through all of that, you're also being a role model for your son too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the thing, like I want nothing but positivity in his life. I mean, don't get me wrong, of course, life isn't all pretty pictures, but where I can impact it, like if I can make sure there's not, negative people, negative situations, or inconsistency, like if I can limit that, I'm going to. And it's just about getting that right as well. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that out.
I don't think there's any right or wrong. It's just you go with what you feel you're drawn to and what speaks to you. Like, it sounds like you want to be the best version of yourself for him and for yourself and as a partner and all of these different roles that you have in your life.
I really do.
You really are just doing your best.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not like someone that sat and read all these books before having like my little boy and whatnot. I just knew like it had to come from within, and my personal desire to be a great mum, and then there's instincts and things like that, right? Like, so I think I've overthought a lot since becoming a mum, and I won't lie, my child isn't a great sleeper. So, there's been moments of impatience. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in certain situations, I never wanted to be a parent that raised their voice or, made their child feel bad for something or anything like that, because I just think it doesn't need to be like that. What approach that is, I don't really know, but it's just, I don't want to do things that just have a negative impact on his future, because these are the most important years, right? Like, these are shaping his whole future and his whole mindset in his future and how he feels about himself and the life, the world around him. And there's definitely been things that have like happened where I've gone, oh God, like I felt bad. I remember a time where he wasn't sleeping. He never has slept. Getting better. But there was one night where I was like, please just sleep. And I ended up going, please just like sleep, with a more of a raised tone. I mean, we were on like hour 4 at this point. And the guilt I had, I barely did anything, but my tone was raised ever so slightly. And I remember the guilt that I like felt over that was horrendous. Like, so bad, because I just thought, oh my God, no, I can't be that person. Like, and oh my gosh, what impact is that going to have on him? I barely did anything, but it was like, I didn't want to slip into that. Sleep deprivation can do that.
But doing that doesn't mean that you are doing what was done to you.
No.
And also the biggest thing is that a lot of what you've missed is accountability.
Yeah.
Whereas that's something that you can do.
Yeah, we're not perfect, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're going to be emotional. I think it's important for kids to see that emotion, how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And yes, you might lash out at people, but also it's coming back to them and saying, I'm really sorry I did that. Like, I was really emotional and I just didn't have my stuff together and I reacted in the way that I did. But that's not your fault and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So that's like the bigger thing. Rather than the thing, it's like the event itself, it's what you do afterwards and how you rectify.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think I agree with everything you've just said. And I think it's just about, because I've never really had anyone showcase that to me. It's figuring that out and knowing that is, I don't know, I'm getting emotional. It's figuring that out and compose. And just making sure that everything that I do is, because I don't want to fall into ways or just because I take accountability, it's okay. But of course, we're human, so those things are going to happen. But I think it's just about, right, in my head, it's over compensating and overthinking everything that I do. And I've literally been like that for the past 1.5 years. And don't get me wrong, like, I do believe I'm a good mom. I do, definitely. And like, I do believe I'm such a safe space for Finley, which I don't think I really ever had. And I'm proud of that. I definitely am. But it doesn't mean that everything I do, like, I even remember thinking, well, I don't want to be someone that tells him off at all. But that's needed. That is needed in an essence of like, he needs to know right from wrong and he needs to know danger and, so yeah, I mean, I've got a toddler now that definitely needs to know not right from wrong with some of the actions he's doing, but it's just making sure I do it in the right way. And when I've not really had that role model from a parent, it's like, right, okay, I've just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do.
Yeah.
But
And I guess like you're just wanting to be the complete opposite.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily being the complete opposite, it's a balance.
Yeah.
So coming somewhere in between where you can be that human.
Yeah.
Because like we said, like you can't, it's not human to not have emotional reactions, especially when you're tired. Toddlers especially, and teenagers can push you.
Oh yeah.
So it's allowing yourself to have those human moments without guilt.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's so many pressures nowadays to like maybe not even have those moments. And I think, you know, social media probably plays a big part of that. Like, you know, all you do see is the perfectly curated like lives and, you know, circumstances and whatnot. And then it can make you question, am I the only one going through this? And then it's like, okay, well, how do you respond to these situations in the right way? And again, it's like maybe, you know, for different children, there is no right and wrong way. But then at the same time, there probably is a wrong way. Yeah, there definitely is a wrong way. But there's more right ways. There's just maybe different right ways.
Yeah, there's not one right way.
Of course.
I think it depends on the parent, the child, environment. There's so many different, you just got to make it fit whatever feels right to you. But
yeah,
as long as you're doing your best and you allow those human moments and kind of allow them to see that and to understand. Give them, I think it's important to give them that, try and give them some of that context, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And I think explaining things to them so they understand, like that's, you know, he's obviously only a year and a half, so he still understands and he still listens, but not to the extent of, you know, having a conversation and really getting him to understand certain things. But yeah, I'm still trying to go with that approach of, you know, explaining things and making him understand as much as he possibly can. So yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey, but everything I do is for him. So yeah.
He sounds like he's got a great mum.
I try. Others might disagree, but I try. I do try. I try my best, and I want to be nothing but great for him. So yeah. It's a balance, trying to get it all right. Business, kids, house. It's hard. But you
Life
do it.
is hard.
Yeah.
And it is a journey.
Yeah.
As cliche and cheesy as it is, life is a journey.
Yeah, it really is. You don't realise, I think, how much of a journey it sometimes is.
Yeah, it's constantly learning.
Yeah.
And I think it's not just waiting until you get to like a certain point, being like, okay, now everything's fine. It's like, no, like you never stop learning.
Yeah.
The journey is the point.
Yeah.
It's not like where you end up, it's everything that happens in between.
Yeah. And I think that will make me prouder for what I end up achieving. Like even now, like, you know, I bought a house at 22. And I don't say that to thingy, but like I'm proud, like me and my partner, and don't get me wrong, like I say, I wouldn't have been able to do that without him, but I bought a house at 22. I have always worked so ridiculously hard. I started climbing the corporate ladder and, you know, working my backside off. And then, you know, started my own business. And we've had, like I never really had, you know, holidays when I was younger, but like me and my partner, we've traveled the world, we've seen, so I've really tried my best to build a life maybe that I've missed out on in some ways. And, you know, I've got a home now, which is a safe place for me, my partner, my little boy. Like I've built that, and I'm proud to say that I've built that. And I think it's even more, you know, I feel proud to say that being, you know, a lot of what we've just talked about is what I've experienced and lived through. You know, if I didn't live through that, it wouldn't maybe necessarily be as much as to be proud of. And hopefully life continues on that course, and there'll be way more things to shout about and, you know, be proud of.
And it will end up being that was, I mean, it doesn't make it any less impactful, because obviously growing up, all of what you experience growing up, good or bad, is going to impact you.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be too good, right?
Yeah. But like that's going to end up being such a small part time-wise in your life that you're going to have way much more time of freedom with the family that you've created. And like all of those amazing business things or holidays and everything that you've made your life to be.
Yeah.
Like that's just going to be, that might have been your story, but it doesn't have to be. Well, you've clearly not made it like
a continued chapter.
continued narrative.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and I am proud to say it's a part of my story. Like I say, like, I think, you know, I've got really big hopes, dreams and desires for where I want to end up in life. And I think if I can stand there confidently one day and being like, that is a part of my story, then I think that's really good. Like, I wasn't handed things on a silver platter. I'm not saying that's a bad thing if you are, but like I wasn't. So like I feel like that's great because a lot of what I've then done is been because I've done it myself.
Yeah.
And with the support of, you know, individuals in my life, but really I've done it myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. You've lived a life.
Yeah. But like I'm about 80 in my experience years, but you know, no, not 30 yet. So
no, but you've already achieved so much, and you definitely
I
should be proud
hope
of
so.
that. Definitely take all of that in and celebrate that. I think it's easy to forget to do that.
Yeah, definitely it is, and sometimes it just needs that reflection time, doesn't it? To just go, you're doing all right. You're doing all right. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm doing all right. Doing all right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking.
Thank you for having me.
No.
If I didn't overshare too much.
No. Loved it, and hopefully it can be helpful for other people to hear.
Yeah, so, definitely. I hope so. Because it is nice to just know that, you know, it's never too late. You know, even the story I shared on my dad, like it's never too late. No. You can turn your life around. You can start doing good things, and you can start living a life to be proud of, no matter what you've been through.
Absolutely. It just takes that it's that choice to be like, how I've been living my life so far isn't it, and I want to change it, and it's going to be hard maybe, but I can do that. So it's never ever too late to get help.
And that's I think you've just hit the nail on the head. I'm a big believer in everything in life is a choice. Everything.
Yeah. Even if it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, it is. And I say, okay, let me caveat that way. Not everything, 'cause that's probably being really naive to some things going on in the world. But I do think there are so many things in life that we do get to choose a path, and you can take one, and every action we make dictates where we end up.
Yeah.
So it's just about, like, I really try now to ask myself within every decision I make, big or small, whether that be for me, my business, my partner, whatever it is, like I do try and ask myself, is this what my higher self would do? Because if it's not something she'd do, then I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because, well, I want to end up in one place, and that's what's going to get me there. So yeah. Everything really is a choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this great conversation. If any of it's spoken to you in any way, or you feel like this would benefit someone, like, share, comment, do all of those things. Send it to someone that you think would benefit. I get a lot of people reaching out to me directly through DMs, which is great, but it would be nice to see a bit more communication between some of you. So I'd like to start seeing some comments. So if you want to see anything else that I do, I'm on Instagram, Rachel Shaw Therapy. I'm also on TikTok, Rachel and Co Podcast. This is on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So if you're on one and want to look at something else, then feel free to switch over or whatever. But yeah, like, subscribe, all of those things. Yeah, thank you. I'll see you next time.